Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week, the Frontispiece Four, Tama, and Likeable face a room full of leapers and try to respond to an ominous message. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
Hello, I'm Drew, and I'll be playing Kato, aka Hecate, Team Mom, mechanically speaking, and also, spiritually speaking.
Hello, I'll be playing Cal Armitage, which is Frontispiece Loss Prevention Specialist to you for now.
Hi, I'm Dez, and I'll be playing Matchstick, gone into the wild to keep an eye on the loss prevention.
And I'm Nick, and I will be playing Ing, aka Ohm, an android drone operator, a pacifist but not a passivist. So we'll see what happens with this incoming fight.
Like that distinction. Well, thank you, players. Let's get right into it then with our recap of last time, this time courtesy of Burn.
So, Apatia dropped us an SOS at the end of my night. This naturally provoked a flurry of activity, as we discovered where she lived from her government name. Cal was going to hair off that way without waiting for input, but after a brief discussion in which I stated that I'd be more useful sticking around the frontispiece, Kato rode on the back of the bike, while Ing was joined on his cross-station run by one Mr. Snuggles. While I could suborn cameras mostly at will en route, the only feeds with a view of the front door were some traffic cams a block or so away. On the plus side, less surveillance in Uhuru. On the downside, less surveillance for me in Uhuru. The door to Apatia's building was locked, and no one was answering Cal's attempts to get anyone, to buzz them up. Kato lifted the door off to allow them entry. Upstairs, outside Apatia's apartment, there were arrayed a clutter of disciples, of varying, mostly high, indoctrination and prudishness regarding Mistress Apatia. Mr. Snuggles made a brute force attempt at deprogramming, while Cal kicked in the unlocked door to discover a squat audaciously registered with the government. The disciples let slip that Apatia had left, likely under neural interference, although they weren't going to tell us that, with the Machine God, which eventually matched Cal's description of the dreamer that suborned Tran. So that was a bust. We spent time looking for connections that might lead us to finding Apatia. Ing had his collective map the basements of Uhuru, while the rest of us reached out to our various contacts and networks. Ing also reached out to Law Zero for help and got, for his trouble, a heat map of Dreamer sightings on the plate. Thus armed, we descended back into the basements and left Uhuru for Silicon District, following Tran's lead until Tran exercised her autonomy at great speed. That led us downtownward, where we eventually found an LED-clad android unconscious on the floor. Some moderately tense discussion led to an appellation of Likeable, who is unfortunately just that. Likeable has agreed to help, although it's unclear how earnest or straightforward that will be. We set off, at least for a moment, and shortly found ourselves in a large room with 3 leapers lounging. A voice told us that we may want to stop here.
And that is exactly where we pick up. Though I do just have to do the 3 leapers lounging.
You're welcome.
Perfect
That was so good.
and wonderful. So, not
already possibly an episode title.
Yeah, perhaps we'll find out, I suppose, what happens in the rest of this episode. Starting now, we are rejoining ourselves right in the moment that the audio of this message fades from your, interface, phone, implants, variously
Did
things
it play
that
through
you...
like Cal's Augment or something?
It actually just played through the speaker on Cal's phone.
That's much less funny.
It is, but in this case, it doesn't seem that the
Less invasive
message sender is prioritizing humor, which, I mean, doesn't speak well of their character. But all four of you got this message, and probably those of you with sensitive enough organs or analogs to those organs were able to hear the message come from Cal's phone. And a quick glance at Likeable will show their reaction indicates they probably also got this message too, while Tama is doing sort of like you have water in your ear that you're trying to get out. So she seems to have also probably gotten the message. It was in a heavily distorted voice. It doesn't immediately continue. So, if there are any immediate reactions to having gotten this message, now's the time.
Yeah.
By whatever means I received this message, I will try to shoot back. Sure, why?
And Cal, you were saying?
I am going to use riot medicine. This will grant all allies in vicinity advantage on saves versus all debilitating attacks. This lasts until next action in a fight or until the end of a scene if outside combat. So I will spend 1 prep on this.
Marvelous. All right. Good deal. So yeah, 1 more prep and riot medicine is in effect. Do remind me, if I don't remember when it comes up, but I'm going to do my best. So, Burn, you got the message as system audio on your hacking rig, which means that there's really good way to reply to it without investigating how that happened first.
Yeah, hate that.
Kato, any particular immediate responses to this message?
Unless Matchstick has already said so out loud, I will say so out loud. Who is this? Why should we stop?
Kato, anything to add?
I think they've got it covered, and I am keeping an eye on the rest of the situation at hand. Response to our response.
Tama has kind of shaken her head and started looking around. Likeable throws punches to the left and right, and then makes a sort of growling sound, but does not have any other immediate visible responses. So
problems you can't punch, at least not right away.
And that sucks. The voice is distorted once again.
It's certainly a frustration.
In response to Ing's question, the heavily distorted voice comes back on a sort of noticeable but not extreme delay, saying, "For now, you just need to know that I'm a friend."
I don't know that yet, though. So,
a demonstration that you're a friend might be warranted.
More or less on the D of warranted, there is a loud clanging sound and an absolutely beat to hell IMX drone plummets from some panel that wasn't super visible from where you're standing, kind of on the edge of this room, just sort of plummets from that into the space with the leapers, sort of around it, standing up in response to this, drone dropping into their space. The IMX drone wheels like in sort of like little donuts for about 4 seconds and then speeds off with a sound like a remote control car with its motor being overtaxed and out one of the passages that leads from this space, starting to emit a very sad, damaged sounding little law enforcement siren as it goes.
That was not unfriendly.
Yeah, it's an extremely timely demonstration of both power and at least present intention.
I hate
It
those
solved
drones.
one problem. Yeah, we all fucking do.
So do I. Comes the voice over the various channels again.
Well, my enemy's enemy is a pain in the ass to my enemy, so.
Yeah, there's at least that.
And if you're a friend, we're trying to find one of ours, Apacia.
There is a long enough pause that doubt starts to creep in that they will respond before they do respond, saying, I'm more interested in what else you might find, but our causes align.
Circumstantial alliances, then.
No further response.
Can't stay here forever, though.
I think the you may want to stop was just for now. Did the Leapers lope after the bot, or?
Yes, if the intrusion of technical issues in the original description obfuscated it, the Leapers did rouse themselves and take off after this,
Okay.
Somewhat fucked up
So,
IMX drone. They
Fresh
are
piece of gristle. Yeah.
currently
a bone.
not in the room that they were
So,
in, and there are multiple exits that the IMX drone did not take.
The obstacle having been cleared, I suppose we can continue on our way. Do we have a theory as to which direction, other than the one the IMX drone took?
Well, let me sort of set the stage a little bit. This is a longer, from your perspective, than it is wide sort of chamber, and the IMX drone led the Leapers out to what is, if you're facing into the room, your left. There is a continuation of the passage on the other side, as well as several smaller passages leading to both the left and right, though you can't count them. Pardon me. You can't count them with confidence from where you're standing. So there's one that you probably shouldn't take because that's the way the Leapers went.
Yeah.
If you go straight, that continues you in the direction you were going before, though you suspect that there isn't a ton further to go in that direction because the edge of Silicon District in that direction is the edge of the plate. It's actually the downtown end of the station. So you can go further that way, but you're not sure how much further. Also, actually, Burn, Matchstick, you in particular, will know that as you get to like the last 5 to 10% of the basements on that end, it gets less abandoned because that's where a lot of the shipping and docking and stuff and industry happens. It's also where the agricultural hat boxes are. So like there's kind of a lot going on about 10 to 20 minutes further in that direction.
Okay.
But
I mean, that being said,
now,
Tran led us in this general direction. Where does Tran think we should go from here?
Tran is disconnected.
And not in evidence.
Right.
Yeah, Ending is worried. Ohm is worried. Ohm will send the collective down the pathway with it where you don't think that there's much left to go.
Okay.
With instructions to circle back and join us if they don't find Tran and or Apacia.
Okay, and Cal?
How many other passageways are there?
several without entering the chamber, you can't have confidence of your count. At least other than the one the IMX drone went through and the one that the collective is being sent through, there are at least 3. 1 to your left, 2 to your right.
Can I roll Bounty Hunter again?
Sure.
To see if I can identify if one passageway has been used a bit more recently than the others.
Go for it.
That is a 6 and a 3, so 9
Will be
plus
plus 6. 3 for
6.
clever and 3 for bounty hunter. So that is 15, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay. It isn't an instantaneous realization, but with some inspection, you realize that there are some very small additional passages that are seemingly more incidental to the way the basements were constructed than intended for thoroughfare, that you immediately sort of discount. The 3 that you were able to identify from where you were standing initially seem like the ones that something the size of the quote-unquote machine god would be able to traverse. And you are able to sort of see that some of the trailing cables in the furthest one from the end you entered on the right, they are all sort of like pulled at the ends into the outgoing direction, which suggests that something either passed that way somewhat ponderously or that something was dragged in that direction.
This one looks recently used.
Let's go.
Yeah. And the collective is off down the sort of bigger opposite one, so you have coverage there too if it is necessary. So you take the passage that Cal has identified and head in that direction. And during all of this, I mean, it hasn't taken that long. It's been a few minutes. But Tama is mostly grumbling under her breath, and Likeable is conspicuously silent, having been very chatty before. Could I get a robotics roll from you, Ohm?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember to use crime names while we're on a mission, but I'll use them interchangeably, I'm sure.
I will mess
Snake
it up.
Eyes.
Ooh,
Snake
shit.
Eyes. All right.
So, plus clever and, well, if the clever is included, but...
Clever and robotics.
Yeah, so it's 8 total.
8 total.
A critical 8.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's. I'm not sure what that roll is for, but I'm pretty sure that I want to boost it, so I will use one of my prep to do so.
All right. Yeah, roll an additional d6 and add that to your 8.
Okay, this is the sound of one dice rolling. It's a 4.
That's
So,
Better than dice
12.
rolling 1
Yeah.
again.
Zen Buddhist gambling section.
That's a really good character idea.
Mhm.
Shit.
Something machine zone, addiction by design, etc. All right. So that brings you
Daddy
all
needs
up
a
to
new perspective on life. Come on, Snake Eyes.
Big insights, big insights.
my Cohen for the day is Rick, ching ching ching.
So long, Samsara.
God.
There's gotta be something in there relating the spinning of the wheels in a slot machine to Samsara. There's gotta be something in there.
Yeah.
This is something. Yeah, this is not nothing.
All right. So
Yeah.
that brings your total on that roll to 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So you all proceed to the right through the passage identified by Cal, and approximately 5, probably varying degrees of uncomfortable silence, depending on who's the one listening, down the specified passage. Your collective reports in that they were stymied by both physical and electrical barriers before they were able to find anything in particular. So if whatever you're pursuing went that way, then it has some pretty robust, hacking, cracking, and breaking like skills.
Okay. Gotcha. I'll recall the collective, give him a good attaboy, out of folks.
Yeah. I'll also point out that Tran, in her feature suite available to you, does not have those sorts of capabilities. So you are 80-ish% certain that Tran did not go that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Recalling the collective, the swarm, and pursuing the other route, presumably.
Yeah. So this is sending you all in the direction of kind of the nearest of the window edges of the plate, though you're not particularly close to it yet. But that's kind of the direction that you're going.
Okay.
And this passage is pretty nondescript for probably about another 5 minutes of mostly silent, relatively rapid trekking. After that, it does widen a little bit, and Likeable goes, vocal distortion turned back off. Well, thank whatever the hell is out there, because this is so boring. I thought we were on a rescue mission. The silence reigns again after that for however long that was that we just heard it. And then Likeable goes, and Tama goes, shut the fuck up. To which Likeable goes, are you single? And Tama makes this noise.
Well, I'm no longer bored.
After another couple of minutes, the passage that you're in ends at a pretty secure looking door that very clearly was not built by station planners. It doesn't look anything like the standardized parts used to build the station. It's in 3 big slabs arranged sort of in horizontally oriented, vertically stacked lines of irregular size. Takes up the whole entryway. Does not have any immediately visible mechanism for interfacing with it. There's no keyhole. There's no pad. There's no scanner. It's just both clearly a door, and it is not at all clear how to open it.
I mean, how does the fiddler crab arm compare to the door?
They are roughly equivalent in sturdiness of construction, and the door is much bigger.
I'd like to go out on a limb and knock on the door.
Okay. Yeah. This is perhaps a silly question. How hard?
Quite hard with my metal hand.
Okay.
My fleshy one, I'm still worried about breaking.
Fair enough. This is going to be particularly silly considering it's a metal hand, but are you doing a meat of the hand, boom, 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 or a knuckle, kung, 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 like a rap?
Yeah, a so-called meat of the hand.
Okay.
Yeah. Just trying to resonate.
Sure.
To the extent that tone can be conveyed, I am making noise, I am not, anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, if you were using a knuckle rapping, sort of gesture, you'd end up with a higher pitched, sort of more courteous sound. But
Fair.
You are sort of using the door as a drum head with kind of the quote unquote meat of your hand, more surface area, and getting kind of a lower sound that carries further. And I'm going to make a quick roll to give me an arbitrary number.
Dice are so good for that.
Yeah. It's basically the thing they do best.
Turns out.
So, I guess how long does it take for any of you, to do something else? Who's the first person to crack when there's no immediate response, and how long does it take you?
I'd wait 60 seconds. Would anybody wait longer than that?
30 seconds in, I am saying, hey, can you open the door?
I can wait forever because now I'm watching Likeable and Tama, and that's a feast. If this was all night, I would just be chilling.
So let's get that first. As you sort of pause where this door stops you, Likeable is standing dead center of the corridor that you're in, and Tama is pressed against the right-hand wall. Like trying to lean casually, but also like very clearly like leaning away. And so after 30 seconds, Matchstick, you ask your question to the open air, and there is no particular response. 30 seconds past that, nothing has happened.
Mm-hmm. I take this awkward pause to put myself between Tama and Likeable.
Likeable
casually.
Sort of glances over at you, and murmurs, you think, in a way that is maybe not meant to be audible, but it's very quiet currently. Sort of, now, ladies, don't fight. It's like really dejected sounding.
I cross my arms and ignore while looking like I want to throw up in my own mouth.
Mm-hmm. No particular response from either Tama or Likeable to that specifically.
Just as a split aside, Adam,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to get a recording of that statement.
Sure, take a note of it, I suppose.
For future maximum mischief.
So, okay, having done all of that, sort of, fun little sideshow, remind me what your next action was if 60 seconds elapsed.
Yeah, I'm starting to examine for hinges or ways to disassemble or break through the door.
Okay. So you get close and you start looking, and I'm not going to have you roll just yet, because about half a minute into this process, the very top third of the door does slide open a little bit. Given its bulk, it does so very quietly and very quickly. So as far as I'm aware, the highest RPM like motors that exist currently that are declassified are for dental tools. So if you're familiar with that sound from the dentist's office, imagine it muffled by some amount of metal in the wall. And that's basically all the indication that you get this is moving at all. It opens just wide enough to admit Tran to pass from the opposite side from where you are back to your side, and then it closes again. Tran still is not in communication with you or the collective and does not seem to do anything in particular, just hovers there on dragonfly wings just on your side of the door as it closes up behind her.
Oh. Tran, I've been worried sick. I hope you're okay. Send some message.
Tran pauses, still just hovering for another 5 seconds, and then does a barrel roll.
However, Ohm smiles.
Sure.
Hey, Tran, is Apatia that way?
No response to that question.
Was worth a shot.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ohm, your inspection of the door did not turn up much of note in the brief time that you had begun it, but you continued to sort of scan it as you keep an eye on Tran, who, other than the barrel roll, is just hovering there. You are able to, without having to do any particular rolling, sort of note a few things. As Tran's entrance suggested, this door's 3 panels are on independent motors. They retract into the wall. So the top one retracts to the right, the middle one to the left, the bottom one to the right, each one on a separate motor. There is no mechanism from this side to interact with the door. At least, it's possible that there's some sort of digital, wireless thing going on here, but you have no particular evidence of that so far. And the door is made somewhat misleadingly of a carbon fiber lattice. You are able to see the top of the middle section while the top one opens and then closes, and the metal that you're seeing is a veneer. The actual material is much more sophisticated.
Gotcha.
You would need fairly high-grade explosives to get through this by force, and it would probably do a lot of damage to everything around the door as well.
Well, there goes Plan B.
It's one of the disadvantages of being out in space as we are. There's an upper limit to how much damage we can do.
Yeah, if you collapse a block, everybody dies in a vacuum.
I know.
Well, this doesn't help with our current conundrum, but if I can do so, I would like to offer Tran control of the rest of the collective.
Ooh, interesting.
If that's not technologically possible, I'll back off from it. But if so, then I'll kind of talk to Tran about, hey, here's the rest of your self back.
Sure. So, you still don't have any direct communication with Tran. You can, of course, send signals in her direction, but you have no indication that they are received or processed, much less acted upon. However, the rest of the collective does still have, connections to each other and to you. Mm-hmm. And they do still have what for us in our reality would be Tran's MAC address. So you issue the order that way. To be clear, the collective is not currently right with you, though they are en route to you from their stymied exploration of that other corridor. When you send this instruction, you can actually time it very precisely because of the way your internal systems work. After you send the order, it is received microseconds later. And only another couple hundredths of a second after that, you lose contact with the rest of the collective. You are now entirely outside of their shared network here. This does seem to have an effect on Tran, who does a barrel roll in the opposite direction from before. And after about 2 beats, Likeable goes, all right, well, what the hell are we? And then the door opens. All 3 of its sections pull back into the wall. And Likeable goes, fuck, is anybody going to tell me what we did to open the door? And Tama just goes, no, and starts walking. Likeable mutters again, not that Likeable has breath, but sort of in a way that is plausibly, plausibly deniable. Goes, you love me.
I pinch the bridge of my nose and walk ahead.
Less sotto voce, Likeable says, I'm glad I don't have one of those. They seem like a pain. And follows at about a distance of 5 feet.
I've been thinking about swapping mine out, yeah.
I recommend it. You can get all the same functionality and more without having to deal with, like, mucus. Ugh. This, while I assume everybody is moving forward.
Hmm.
So, past the door, it's a corridor like the one you were standing in, but with no lighting. Which, the basements don't have a lot of lighting, but they typically have some. They were intended to be used by someone for something, when they were constructed. But the lighting seems to have been either removed or disabled in this area. Now, this is not a huge problem for many of our individuals in this group, but certain of us will have a little more trouble than others.
I think I have a flashlight.
Light sources are available. So Cal's flashlight comes out. Tama produces a headlamp and uses that. And when it turns on, Likeable goes, all right. And says nothing else particular. Now, Tran sort of turned around in place as the door was opening, and then, it's a flying drone, but moved forward in the air at a pace approximating an amble before the door was fully open. So Tran is ahead of the group, but not by a lot and not speeding ahead. And you'll probably recognize the sounds first, but you hear the rest of the collective sort of speeding down the corridor behind you to catch up, both flying and ground-bound ones. Mm-hmm. When they catch up, they sort of align themselves to Tran's position and then adopt Tran's pace. Anybody doing anything in particular as you proceed further down this corridor that was doored off to begin with?
I am recording to the degree that I am able. Basically, everything.
Sure.
But particularly, like, EM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm continuing to scan the space like I'm clearing a room, but also trying to be subtle about it.
Okay.
The device that I usually use to control and give directives to my swarm, I am now just kind of setting to passively receive any messages that come in.
Okay.
I'm being aware of any potential danger, but also mostly listening for any additional drama involving Likeable, who is becoming increasingly air quotes Likeable.
They do seem like somebody who is at their best when they're not bored, at the very least.
Yeah, who knew that androids could have ADD?
So it takes, let's call it 7.5 minutes of relatively slow paced walking, keeping kind of to where Tran is traveling and the speed at which Tran is traveling before anything notable happens. And during this time, Likeable has gone from muttering to, I would say whistling, but it's not like there's air actually making these sounds. They're essentially like particularly sophisticated, like MIDI synthesized whistle sounds of like decades old show tunes. And at about the 7.5 minute mark, you see from the far end of the corridor that you're in, you sort of come around a gentle curve that's been ongoing for a bit. And as you come around it, in the light bulb sense of the word, bright white light starts to get more and more in evidence ahead of you. So it is sort of like a full spectrum tone of indoor lighting. It's not high lumen exactly, but it seems like by the time you get there, it would be, institutional space lighting, a cafeteria, say, kind of emanating from ahead. give us a moment if there's anything in particular we want to do having seen this. Otherwise, I assume we'll continue.
If things get hairy, run.
The voice you haven't heard in a minute, the distorted one that we kicked the session off with, says, "Do what the lady says."
Continue onwards.
Cal, I would like to get you to just roll 2 dice and tell me what you get.
Was it
A 5 and a 6.
Hey!
Very nice. So that's... Sorry, I'm looking at your character sheet here. Okay. Actually, double checking here. Yeah. Cal, you manage to not react, but that turn of phrase suddenly introduces, through jostling at your memory of interacting back on Earth, that this voice might be Ramirez. That's something that he used to say before you kind of had a chat with him.
Oh. If you're a friend, beer's on me.
Assuming that you say that out loud,
Mm-hmm.
no audible response is forthcoming, but you
I will
are...
snap my gaze to Cal.
Mm-hmm. Your phone does vibrate, and should you look at it, there
Immediately
is a text message from a concealed number that has arrived on your phone that consists of a sequence of emoji, the little shush emoji, a little cry laugh emoji, a thumbs up emoji, and a beer stein emoji.
I respond back with the questions. How many beers for both of us?
After a brief delay, a response comes back that says, 1 per round, comma, infinity emoji rounds.
So I'm still, it seems like Ramirez, but I'm still not sold.
Sure. Honestly, really reasonable.
Yeah. I send a thumbs up emoji.
You get a saluting emoji back almost immediately.
I text Cal with, ask what the fuck it was up with the disparities on his computer. There were several fairly salient things that,
I send a shrugging emoji.
Responsive, may offer further confirmation of identity if that's what you're working at.
Mm-hmm. I do send the question after that.
Mm-hmm.
Your family looks different than I remember.
Ramirez question mark texts back. Security.
I send another text, aware that I'm now just furiously texting as we're approaching lights.
It's fine. You're being paced pretty slow by Tran. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I figure the ghosting and the ghost in that is the emoji was security too.
You get the 100 double underline emoji back.
I send Burn a text, not convinced, but not unconvinced either.
I mean, you're the one who's judging here. Plus, it's not like it matters at the moment. But, you know, keep your confidence in the identity in mind.
It matters.
Yes, obviously it matters from, like, an ontological point of view, but from an operational point of view, much less so right now.
So, at around that point in this exchange, with no further, sort of volunteered communication from Ramirez ? You'll start to get a look at the brightly-ish lit, especially for the basements, space ahead of you, having come all the way around the curve and approaching it at slow pace. As you near it, the first thing that you will, sort of register is that Apatia is there. She is conscious. She is moving. And she's wearing her habit with the LED, sort of starscape on it. But the previously sort of silver-white LEDs have become an RGB circus gamer hell kaleidoscope. She's not the only figure, though the other one is still. In fact, the other one seems to be restrained very close to the wall on the left, maybe even restrained to it. The other figure also appears to be unconscious, or at the very least unresponsive. And Apatia is, to all appearances, as you sort of take in this brief tableau, tending to the other figure, has sort of like a small vessel and is pouring perhaps water slowly into the other figure's mouth. Neither of them is paying any attention to your direction.
Is the machine god in evidence?
While you cannot see the entire space from your approach, nothing you can see shows the machine god.
Okay.
Apatia.
There is no response or indication that she heard you at all.
Draw closer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
As you get closer and you can see more of the space, it seems to have been very normal, average basement space that got sort of cleaned and shored up some. The lighting is definitely an addition. The space is entirely without what you would consider like creature comforts. It's not like it's been used as like a squat, as some of the spaces in the basements are. And as you get more and more of the space, you don't see the so-called machine god. After a moment or two, especially and Hecate, you will note that there are a few constructs in it, maybe a half dozen, mostly recumbent kit bashes. Just kind of floor, walls, ceiling, scattered about. Even coming closer, neither Apatia or the figure that she seems to be tending to take any particular notice of you. Burn?
Is the figure recognizable?
As you get close enough, yes. It is you who will recognize the figure first. It does take you a minute because they don't look very much like their images at the moment. This is Canopus Hear You. much worse for wear.
Shit.
I approach directly and rest a hand on Apatia's shoulder.
All right. Apatia does not give any sign of noticing your approach until you touch her shoulder.
Yeah, this has turned out well for me in the past, so can't wait to see what happens now.
Om nom nom.
So let's see. Your quick defense is 9.
Like I said.
Yeah.
And you currently have
quick defense of 9. Advantage against any debilitating actions.
Okay. I don't think this falls into that category exactly. Without seeming to register exactly what's going on, Apatia does in a sort of, a reenactment of earlier events, sort of whirl and bury her chrome canines into the area sort of above your wrist on your forearm there. I guess I neglected to ask which arm, but I'm going to make it the same one because, that works best.
Because callbacks and symmetry.
This time, however, she doesn't quote unquote snap out of anything. She immediately pulls back, and only after having bitten you sort of looks up to see that it's you. And she speaks, sounding pretty normal by her standards. She says, "Oh, hello. How did you get here?" Looking kind of variously at members of the group.
We walked.
Oh, me too.
You sent us an email. It sounded like you were in distress.
Apatia goes, "Oh," and kind of nods. At the time, I probably was. It's a little bit of a blur. I was awakened in the middle of the night. But, well, not currently, though. While she says this, sort of dabs at Canopus Hiryu's brow with a cool, damp cloth.
When exactly did it go from your distress to other people's?
I assume that you had an on-camera gesture here that I assume was you sort of nodding in the direction of the restrained Canopus.
I was trying to get that across in voice, but I probably failed to do so. So yes, that is the idea.
I think you probably succeeded, but I wanted to make very sure before I had her response on air that I wasn't.
The intention, yes.
Yeah. She glances between you and Canopus and she goes, "Oh, I mean, he was here when I got here. So I'm helping out."
Helping whom?
"Oh, well, this fellow," and she points at Canopus. Says, "He's been here for some time, I think, and he's very important. So I'm trying to make him as comfortable as I can."
Why is he important? To whom, I suppose?
She sort of shakes her head. She's right. Sorry, I've been having some conversations inside my head. It makes it hard to remember who knows what outside of my head. He, I think,
is Canopus Hiryu.
Oh, she looks at him, looks back at you.
I point to my holographic projection armor.
She looks at your holographic projection armor, says, That is probably what he looked like. Oh, right. No, that makes total sense, because what I was going to say is he either by himself or on a team seems to have made the Dreamers.
Yep.
Or at least some of them. I mean, not God, but the others. Some of them, maybe.
Do you know which?
Sadly, I don't. You see...
Do you know why?
Well, I have some theories, but let me start at the beginning. And while she's doing this, she is continuing to sort of haphazardly tend to Canopus hear you. She gave him some water while you were coming up. She dabbed his brow. Now she's like straightening his clothes and like combing his hair out of the way.
Yeah, if the medical care is haphazard, is there anything that I can do any better with my abilities in flesh horticulture?
Oh, no.
I feel like there might be, but you may need to observe for a little bit longer to sort of like get a really firm idea here. Cal?
I do crouch down and open my first aid kit so that it's in full view of Apatia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she starts talking as you do that, and she does, while she's talking, sort of notice you do it, though she doesn't take any immediate action. Though I will say that after she finishes sort of like straightening his clothes and sort of like straightening his hair, she sort of steps away for a moment and addresses you with her full attention, eyes occasionally drifting to the first aid kit. But she says, well, you see, okay, so I had told you all, well, not all of you, she says, looking kind of toward the back of the group where Laughable and Tama are standing in hilariously congruent cross-armed poses, sort of watching the proceedings. They clearly have neither noticed that the other is in the same posture, or they probably would have changed. But she says, I suppose doesn't make sense to make it a secret now, but I encountered this machine god when I was younger, here in the basements when I lost track
so it is
of
the same one.
Well, I have concluded that it was because I had a similar experience when it didn't speak to me. I don't think it was trying to communicate. I think it was looking at knowledge that I had. It's pretty disorienting, and I honestly don't know how long it took. But the interface is... She sort of pauses and gets a faraway look on her face. She says, it's magnificent. And then she shakes herself and says, but it at least with... And she gestures to all the chrome on the back of her head and neck. It isn't entirely one way, and so I don't think it was communicating to me, and I didn't have any control over exactly what I gleaned, but I did get some information in the transfer, and it... I think that some of the cartel corporations were trying to... Well, she looks at and then at Likeable and says, trying again to make slaves. And it didn't really work this time either, I guess, but for different reasons. Anyway, she gestures at Canopus and she goes, I think he was one of the people who worked on it, because I sort of have him and some of the information that I was able to kind of hang on to. And, well, he's down here now. So it seems like they wanted him or his mind for something. And she sort of gestures Cal specifically a little closer to where Canopus Hiryu is secured to the wall and points. And you couldn't see this until you sort of came around the side. But he is restrained sort of like around his arms, like at the top near the shoulder, and around his waist just above the hips to the wall. Not tightly, but enough to support him there. But he is also secured to it by the back of his head, where some chrome has been installed, and there are several interfaces of unfamiliar design running into it.
Shit.
Yup. Quick question, Apatia. Is this space in any way controlled by or interacting with any of the cartel anything?
She looks thoughtful for a moment. She says, I mean, not in ways that I can detect. It's possible that there's something. I mean, you know, they don't seem to need interfaces like we do. So who really knows? But as far as I can tell, no. It seems fairly self-contained. The machine god comes here sometimes and communes either with me or, and she gestures to Canopus, and she says, and then it'll leave, and then I'm here with him, and I try to take care of him because he's clearly important to God's plans. I don't exactly know what those are, but I mean, if I'm right, and you know, what we call dreamers were the results of cartel attempts to make new intelligences that were enslaved to their wills, then I'm on their side. So, you know, happy to help. And she starts picking through Cal's first aid kit for helpful materials.
I am also anti-cartel, but this man
And
needs medical
anti-slavery.
and anti-slavery, more importantly. But this man needs medical aid.
Apatia rummages for another half a beat in the first aid kit, and then looks to Cal, then back to the first aid kit, then to Cal, then to Canopus, and says, I assumed that was, and she points at the first aid kit, what we were doing.
That's called triage or field medicine. That's not a doctor in a hospital.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have a lot of experience with doctors and hospitals, so I guess it didn't seem necessary. I mean, he's, you know, I mean, I won't say fine, but not
Can I
dead.
check his pulse?
Go ahead. Yeah.
How much autonomy does God let you have?
Let me handle the pulse checking first, and then we will deal with that question. One moment. Yeah, you approach Canopus, and I mean, his arms are just kind of dangling by his sides. So you pick one up and feel at his wrist. You notice that as you approach, nothing particular happens. As you reach out, nothing particular happens. When you touch him, the kit bashes around the room all sort of like swivel attentively toward you, though none of them move from their positions. And you are able to find a pulse. It is slow, but pretty strong. It's not like low on pressure. In the meantime, Byrne had asked Apatia about autonomy, and she turns to you as she stands up from the first aid kit with a couple of sundry items from it, and she says, oh, I mean, as far as I'm aware, there aren't really any restrictions other than I guess that the door in that direction was closed. But there's, and she gestures with her head to the other side of the room. Further, you can go that way. I honestly haven't tried to go too far because, well, it's pretty clear I'm helping here, so I hung around. By this
Are
point,
there sleeping quarters? Is there food? Are there bathrooms?
Well, I've made do, and she sort of gestures nebulously to the kit bashes. They sometimes drop off odds and ends. It's unclear to me how much they know about what I need, but also she sort of like gestures to all of her augments on the back of her head and neck. She says, I require less in the way of things like rest than most people.
Sure. That question was partly directed at your circumstances and partly directed at Canopus's, and partly to inquire about the degree to which you're an active and willing participant in this whole thing.
While you've been talking, she's approached the other side of Canopus from where Cal is, and has started to apply sort of like soothing ointments to the areas where his restraints are in contact with his body, as well as once that is done, sort of loosely wrap them in some gauze to kind of insulate them, from the contact with the bare metal. But she can, while do that and respond. And she says, well, I've concluded that the machine god brought me here for a reason, and I am doing my best to divine that reason and live up to it. Looking thoughtful, Pesha sort of says, well, end of the day, I, was led here in some amount of confusion, but, well, I feel this is where I'm needed right now, and, I don't see any reason to leave. Not when I'm finally contributing materially. She says this as she sort of ties off the last of the gauze. I should probably note, too, that Tama, while silent, has been fidgety. She's been trying to keep an eye on all of the kit bashes. And Likeable has stood very still. This is not necessarily remarkable for an android. It might be a little remarkable for Likeable, specifically, as an individual. And the collective, still disconnected from Ohm, has sort of settled into areas around the room not dissimilar from how the kit bashes are arranged and sort of settled.
I am going to text the Ramirez question mark number. Advice, orders, thoughts,
feelings.
No immediate response is forthcoming, though you do, like, the message is sent successfully from your end. So perhaps you will get a response hopefully soon. In the meantime, Rapacia has gone to put the remaining gauze and the tube of ointment back in the first aid kit, and removes a little break and shake tube of like hydration solution from the kit and starts breaking and shaking it in anticipation of presumably popping the cap off and pouring it into Canopus.
Apatea, do you know what happened to Hiryu, to Canopus?
She shakes her head in a relatively definitive manner, but after a beat says, I suppose I have a little supposition. The jumble of information that I got features him, but it's pretty clear that whatever the Dreamers did to initially escape the cartel's clutches didn't involve taking him with them. That was later. But, well, reading between the lines, it seems like maybe he objected to something. I don't really have any information on this, the precise order of events, but I can't think of another reason why he would go from where I see, she sort of stumbles over the word, him then to where he is now. She was, as she says this, pouring the little tube of hydration solution into his mouth.
Has he been unconscious long? I don't know much about brains, but I think that's not good for them.
She looks thoughtful. She says, I suppose not. I haven't seen him wake up.
All right. Well, it's rather fascinating that you found your way to the center of a heck of a lot of dreamer activity.
Well, it wasn't on my own, that's for sure. Finished pouring the tube, she just kind of tosses it over one shoulder, and where it lands, a nearby kit bash scurries over and, to all appearances, eats it. After about... Go ahead.
Is it possible that this might not be the best environment for getting better?
Apatia just nods, seemingly, kind of unconcerned.
Okay.
At about that time of that interaction, Cal, you get a response on the Ramirez ? Conversation in your phone's texts, rather than it coming as may have been previously normal for this kind of thing to everybody else. The message you get is unpunctuated, all in lowercase, and it said, someone in cartel mobilized Goliath, headed to the basements. Something is up. Get out.
I relay that to the team.
Aloud.
Mm-hmm.
All of the kit bashes and the collective immediately split in both directions.
Aloud, I will ask, I will face a kit bash and ask, can we take Canopus and reunite him with his daughter? She's looking for him.
Apatia sort of stops almost unnaturally still, like mid-motion, as she's turning around, and then pivots to face you, Matchstick, and she says, right. Oh, she looks at Canopus. She goes, I don't know for sure how to unhook him. I really wouldn't want to disappoint the machine god. No, I wouldn't want to bring her here either. I think it would upset her.
That's why I was trying to ask your digital compatriots.
If we stay, Goliath will take him.
Apatia seems really confused for a moment, and then she goes, Oh, the company.
Cartel.
Right.
Potato.
She looks left, looks right, after the machines that have departed. And she opens her mouth to say something when Likeable speaks up instead, in Joseph Chapek's voice. And Likeable says, or Joseph Chapek says, unclear, this has gotten very interesting very fast. You all need to leave. Think the door is still open. We'll stay here. and cause trouble. Tama looks really alarmed. Go ahead, Matchstick.
My primary goal here, Mr. Chapek, is to ensure both the continued safety, such safety as there were, of Canopus Hiryu, and to try to find as much information as I can about how he came to this state. Leaving without adequate assurances is incompatible with that.
Your immediate reply comes in Likeable's voice and says, "How noble! I do like you," and then gets cut off by Joseph Chapek's voice, which says, "Understand your concerns, but it's about to be extremely dangerous here."
Right, and that means that he'll get taken or die.
We need to go.
Chapek says,
Agreed.
"That's sensible. As far as I can tell, your options are get taken or die alongside him, or leave now and hope we can handle it." Tama, for her part, goes, "That's bullshit. I didn't come here to run away. I came here for a rescue, and now we got 2 people we can rescue." You can hear Chapek start to say something when Likeable starts to laugh. Goes, "Oh, I do like you guys. Oh, all right. Anybody seen my sword?"
Did we at any point see Likeable's sword?
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately, no. But, for the record, I agree. Fuck that. We all leave. Together.
I text the number. Which direction are they coming from?
Would you have, I don't remember if we had discussed this on air before, would you have it set up so that you can see when the other party is typing on your phone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you see a, unknown is typing, stops, unknown is typing, stops. And after about 20 seconds, you get an above ground map of Silicon District with red arrows pointing in from 6 directions and a circle around most of the center of the district.
I send this to Burn.
I send this to Hahi with the further statement, as sort of aw shucks sheepishly teen as I can. Found your dad.
You have no idea the temptation to end the episode there. I mean, just out of spite.
Yeah, no, I knew exactly that it would be that temptation, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But I will not. I will resist the temptation. And instead, there is a stretch with, no response, but relatively quickly, all things considered.
I do follow it up with, problem is he's sort of hooked up to a wall, ? Dreamer's involved.
So you get a reply that just says WTF ? And another one that says, which headquarters?
None. Basements. Goliath closing in. See map.
WTF ? FML ! OMW. Separate messages. Very quickly.
Yeah, maybe don't.
No response.
We need to get moving now. We are outclassed, outnumbered. If we stay, it's suicide.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
We're
all in or we're all staying.
How, in fact, do we unhook him?
Are his
Mhm.
augments comparable or analogous to yours, Apacia?
She looks thoughtful for a moment. She says, I mean, I suppose analogous, but much newer and customized to him, to his.
Sure.
Do I know what I'm looking at, given the amount of sort of custom shit I've done to myself?
I feel like that's reasonable to make a roll for.
Sure. 2d6 plus cybernetics,
2d6
say?
plus clever plus cybernetics.
Cool.
If there is any way I can assist in this, please let me know.
That's 7 plus 5 is 12.
12. All right. Just a moment. I don't think, under the circumstances, there's a real good way for you to help out on this roll, Matchstick. So what did we get, Hecate?
We got a 12, but I'm going to go ahead and boost using some prep.
Sure.
Let's say that I thought that something like this might happen. And so I went ahead and, examined sort of like the documentation on the augments that I have, which are, of course, many. So I'm adding a 5 for a total of 17.
Okay. So you are not a neurologist, but you have gotten a lot of things plugged into various parts of your nervous system over the years. And
I haven't died.
You haven't
so
died.
That's dope.
So you're able to sort of look and come to some quick, educated guesses about how this might be working, especially given the context that Apacia gave you for what kinds of things may be happening through this interface. And your best theory is that if you can disconnect these things one at a time, top to bottom, while he is unconscious, then it is unlikely to have any further effects than whatever it's already done to him. It's about as confident as you're able to get under the circumstances.
I convey this, and I'm already moving to get started.
Okay.
Tama, I'm going to need you to take point. Anyone who's not necessary for this should get moving.
Tama grins at you in a way that makes her look both quite menacing and very lively, and unslings from sort of beneath her kind of like tactical, I guess you'd call it like a jacket, a very, very illegal bullpup rifle.
The gasp is only slightly in character.
She checks
If it's not in character for Cal, it is for Kato.
Yeah. She says, I've been saving this for a rainy day, only have so much ammunition, and she inserts a magazine and charges it, keeping the finger off the trigger, safety on, and the barrel off to one side. She says, designed for orbital engagements with, high density, low velocity rounds. So no punching through walls, but plenty of impact.
And when we get out of this, we're going to have to take that for a spin.
She grins even wider, now looking just straight up excited.
I switch my holographic projection armor to the Revenant.
All right.
I use my last charge for
that would be
For no
your
prep.
free one. Yeah,
Mhm.
your last free one. So still no prep. Yeah.
I'm also looking directly at Apatia, who's the one person who I'm not sure is okay with what I'm planning to about to be doing.
She seems to be a little bit at a loss, kind of glancing between people, definitely confused by whatever is going on with Likeable, who was pretty still and quiet for a lot of that early interaction and now has taken more of a central role, but doesn't move to stop you and seems pretty alarmed by how strapped Tama is. A couple of the kit bashes come back into the room and sort of take up posts. And Likeable has started to pull something off of the wall that is about an inch in diameter and made of solid metal. How much length they're going to get out of it is unclear, but seems to be going for an improvised weapon. In a very matter-of-fact kind of way. Hecate. I feel like I don't really want to make you roll another cybernetics for doing this successfully. The information doesn't change,
Sure.
But I think I do want you to roll a quick just by itself, 2d6 plus 3, just to see how expedient this is.
That took a long time to settle. That's a 9 plus 3 is 12. This seems like a good time to boost again, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
All right, yeah, use another prep and roll another die.
It was a fucking 1.
Oh no.
Is what it is. So that's
An
13
extra point.
total.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it's probably not usually done after the fact, but we were discussing last time about how you can stack prep expenditures. So if you wanted to also give yourself advantage to roll an extra and drop the lowest die on top of your boost.
I could be taking direction and spend one of my prep to do that as a way of assisting.
Extra pair of hands. Yeah, that's cool by me.
This is something that we've likely done before, if under lower stress circumstances.
Almost certainly, yeah. As in, hey, come in here. I'm giving myself a new eye.
Yeah, so...
yes, lower stress.
So yeah, do roll an additional die, and then provided it's not also a 1, you can drop the 1 and replace it with the higher number.
It was also
All right, well, I think it's just meant to be.
Oh boy.
God damn.
So what does that come out to all told?
13.
13. Okay. That's not terrible.
It's not bad, but, it could be better.
Can I say that while they are working, I take cue from where the kit bashes are posted and pull out my gun, chamber around, and then put myself between the two of them and where I think Goliath personnel might be coming.
Okay. Absolutely. You can kind of prepare there. Let's see. It doesn't all told take that much time for Hecate, with a little bit of assistance from Matchstick, to disengage Canopus from these interfaces. And then it takes only a little more time after that to extricate him from they're really more supports than restraints, so they're not that hard to get him out of. It's a little bit awkward because he's just dead weight, and you kind of have to go up, with him.
We take him from his wall hanger and get the fuck out.
Yeah. So it doesn't actually take that long all told, but it feels like forever. And while you're doing it, between when you've gotten the cranial interfaces disconnected and as you're maneuvering him out of the supports, you do hear from the way that you came into this room a that is pretty clearly the gate of some leapers. But kind of before you can take any decisive action, they just shoot through 3 of them, presumably the same that you saw earlier from the way you came down the tunnel that Cal and Tama are like kind of prepping toward, and they are just gone. They don't seem to take any particular notice of you.
To the open air, I will say thank you.
What is the collective doing? And if nothing, then I could supply something.
I was, in fact, just about to get there because you still have no communication from any of the collective. But shortly after those leapers come shooting through, and about the time that Hecate and Matchstick have worked Canopus free of the wall hanger as Des supplied, you do get the reopening of a connection here. Let's see, I believe it was Mama that had the upgraded recording hardware.
Yeah.
And it's like a quad drone. Mama opens a connection back to you that doesn't really contain most of what you would normally have, but does have an audio video feed, fairly high definition, of Goliath personnel and equipment entering the basements in what is clearly an outlying part of Silicon District, away from most of like the traffic and eyes, but not too far away. But having sent that, the connection is cut again. And by this time, let's say that Hecate and Matchstick have managed to sort of arrange Canopus, sort of being carried in as comfortable a way as you can manage by Hecate. Apatia seems to
Nick,
mostly just be fretting. Go ahead.
Does Ing share the fact or the substance of that video?
I will.
Cool.
I'll also encourage the collective, briefly. Keep yourself safe. Feel free to skaka. I'm not sure that we can I'll do much here.
Yeah. It is unclear whether or not they are receiving your communique.
Understood.
I fire it off to Hahi and KNB and Ali. Hahi's message is, no, really, we're moving him. Don't come here.
Very well. Let's see. Having acquired a Canopus
of the hear you variety,
is the plan now for you to exfiltrate as a group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have Tama take point, and I will bring up the rear.
Okay. So you can certainly backtrack. You remember the route. Presumably nothing much has changed other than the
Except
position
the
of the
presence of
Leapers.
Yeah. And is it still clear based on the map I have?
I mean, the way that the Goliath personnel were coming into the basements in the video that Ing received would not put them between you and your exit. But if that's not the only place that they're coming into the basements, then
I thought that maybe Ramirez's map indicated that it would put them on that route.
I mean, if the arrows are at all precise, then they are tunneling through the basements. It seems like Ramirez's map is intended to show that they are streaming into the district. They could be coming in from anywhere. You have evidence that they are coming in from the side that the Leapers went to.
Okay.
There are no guarantees that they are not going to be elsewhere.
Right.
I bark, no matter what happens, get the package and yourselves out.
Apatia,
Yeah, you too, Cal.
Apatia, seeming somewhat listless, goes, Where do I go?
With
With
us, if you
us.
like.
Oh, okay. Seems kind of uncertain, but nods, a little bit shakily. And Likeable, sort of having pried this length of metal off of the wall, kind of bangs it on the wall with a nice reverberation, and then twirls it around in one hand and says, well, it's not my sword, but I guess it'll do. And stands in the middle of the room. Just like centered left to right, centered front to back, facing the direction that the leapers went in. Everybody else.
Yep. I encourage Likeable to take up the rear with me.
Likeable cocks their head for a moment as though considering, and then sort of gives a shoulder rolling shrug and says, I'll take up the rear to your rear. Not trying to play heroics, but if this body gets wrecked, it's not necessarily in for me, so I can afford to take some more risks like we were talking about earlier.
Just know your limits. We do have a no heroic sacrifices policy in this group.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
We're nothing if not cute.
Well, you said it, not me. With that, I don't think there's anything else to be done before you start moving.
Mm-hmm.
Heading back the way you came, the door is open. There's no other movement as far as you can see down this darkened corridor. Tama has, her flashlight and sort of like a, what's the word looking for? Sort of like raised fist grip with her bullpup rifle kind of held to one side, in the other hand, just kind of keeping an eye out. Cal bringing up the rear, looking the other way, and everybody proceeding forward. You come back to the room that the rogue IMX drone pulled the Leapers away from and head back the direction that you had come from there. You pass where you had found Likeable. And then, I guess, who's in the front here?
I'm probably like half a step behind whoever's in the front because I can navigate with, basement dweller.
Sure.
I'll take the lead.
That makes the most sense since Hecate is carrying Canopus. Apatia is walking next to Apatia is walking next to Hecate and Canopus. So Matchstick, right about the same time, you sort of come around a slight bend and are drawn up a little bit short because there stands the thing called by some the machine god. It is facing away from you, and doesn't seem to be moving, but it is taking up quite a bit of the tunnel space.
I ask if we can get by.
There is no particular response.
I think I proceed, albeit cautiously, to the side of the machine god if there is space to sidle by with large frame.
I gesture for Tama to take up the rear, and I take the lead.
Okay, so while you all are moving to take these actions, you do hear a banging from above you. It is unsubtle. It is a little bit ahead of where the machine god is standing. And I guess, well, probably most of you, I guess there's no first here, most of you will hear it very rapidly in succession. You hear a heavy tread coming up the corridor from the direction you came in your direction. The rate and timbre of the banging on the ceiling and the pace of the tread coming from behind you are together dissonant and cacophonous. The machine god holds its pose long enough for you to get close, and then it pivots just its upper body 180 degrees, so facing now where you all are coming from, and then without particularly waiting to see if anybody is in the way, it starts kind of like an eerie rolling lope back that direction that you came from, just in time for some part of the ceiling of this tunnel to, kind of fall in, and an armed, relatively large quadcopter drone with Goliath branding on it to kind of catch itself coming down into the passage. About a half a second later, somebody's voiced suspicion from a moment ago seems confirmed as Kumiko comes whipping down the passage that you traversed from the direction you came and the direction that the machine god fled, looking very worse for wear. It's clearly the same one from the protest that, come to think of it, you're not sure anybody ever reported what happened to it after that. And it seems like maybe this is what happened to it. And it is currently barreling in your direction. So there is Goliath branded large quadcopter between you and the exit, and Kumiko coming up very rapidly from the rear.
Is there a place to, so they essentially have us pinned?
Yes, and Kumiko does not seem inclined to stop. This is a fairly rapid response kind of moment.
I run at Kumiko.
All right. Anybody
and open
else?
Fire.
Mm-hmm. No other immediate responses there, so let's get a roll from Cal. So I believe this is going to be a my gun go pew pew.
Seems reasonable.
So that's going to be clever +2, my gun go pew pew +3, 2d6 +5.
5 and a 6 again.
Okay.
Nice.
Damn.
So that's a 16 total.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Your gun sure do go pew-pew.
It sure
I
do go pew-pew.
I do.
So let me get to the correct page here. So
And I will quickly interject that as I start opening, before I open fire fully on Kumiko, I shout at the group to run.
Okay. So yeah, very quickly this happens. Situation comes together. Cal shouts to everybody to run. And then let's see. Rushes would be the move here. Kumiko, who needs to make a tough save versus your attack roll. And on top of that, I'll also point out that this is a close quarters arena.
Mm-hmm.
Guns are disadvantaged against melee, which doesn't factor here since you're the only one, kind of making an attack and you're not doing it directly in melee here. So let me pull up the... Okay. Okay. So the immediate thing that happens here is that Cal says to run, takes off running towards Kumiko, fires some shots. Most of them connect. It's unclear that any particular damage was done. This particular UWA-7 spider tank does not have all of its armor intact, partially thanks to Ohm and partially thanks to whatever has happened to it since. But it's really hard to tell what may have happened. What definitely does happen in response, though, is that the Kumiko's charge sort of careens into and then briefly sort of up the side of a wall, and it kind of crashes onto its side and starts scrambling back to its feet, as though like maybe its legs are asleep. Really uncanny movement for a robotic weapon like this. More or less simultaneously, you sort of closest to the front hear a shocker or taser of some kind, capacitor whine from the quadcopter drone. I'm going to roll for it real quick. Let's see. Fortunately, it is a pretty chaotic environment, and this thing is still stabilizing itself from its descent, so it does try to target you, and probably if it had managed to make contacts with the conductive parts of your outer plating, could have had deleterious effects, but both of the little darts that are supposed to conduct the current sort of ping off their sides on one of your shoulders and discharge their payload into the wall. Mm-hmm.
I am recording this. I also text Cato to suggest that they record this, since they've got better equipment than I do for this purpose.
Yeah, no, I reply that that's definitely happening, and a very observant observer would see my eyes sort of aperture in a way that indicates I'm recording.
Okay.
Is anyone moving beyond recording?
No one has said so yet.
I am definitely not doing what I was told to do, which is run.
There's nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're between problem A and problem B. Thus, I also give Cato K&B and Ali and Hahi's like dump information here.
Okay.
I mean, I would try to follow Cal's direction and run, but I'm also trying to position myself between gunfire and cannabis.
Okay. Yeah, so you sort of like pivot, and all of the gunfire currently is from Cal facing toward the rear and sort of distracting Kumiko, potentially if the retractable guns on this Kumiko unit had been repaired after your interaction with it, then those could be live as well. Doesn't look like at a glance Tama is in a firing position just yet, though she is facing towards the Goliath drone in the front. And you don't have a clear look at exactly what other armaments the Goliath drone might have, though it would be unorthodox to have a gunpowder weapon on a quadcopter frame. That's asking for trouble.
Also, Adam.
Yes.
I look like whoever is in charge of Goliath.
Oh, interesting. I suppose that would certainly be common knowledge.
Yeah, it's something, basically like I now exist as Laughing Kid as this dude's biography.
Sure, yeah. So this is the founder of Goliath is a somewhat notorious fellow, Barlow Hawthorne, who let's see. I guess probably nobody here who knows of Barlow Hawthorne would have anything nice to say about him, but a lot of people in the general public wouldn't know his name. That said, there are at least rumors among those who are his detractors that the reason he's on Grand Cross is because he would be arrested for war crimes if he returned to Earth.
It's a good thing I can't see Laughing Kid.
Indeed. Yeah. I would actually love it if you could just roll a d6 and tell me what you get.
Mm-hmm. Single d6.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. It's a 5.
Okay. I will let you decide exactly how this goes. You are not fooled by Laughing Kid. You've seen Matchstick do this before, and you can still see Matchstick. But your sensors will also tell you what is being sort of like broadcast to what we might call, quote unquote, like dumb cameras that are around. And you don't know who this person is, but you know that you have seen him before.
Gotcha. Think in the heat of battle, there's not much that I could do with that information, but I will continue to allow my subconscious to pick away at that particular scab.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just so long as you don't shoot me. Which I didn't think was a terribly great risk, but you know.
Speaking of shooting, is this enough time for me to fire off another rounds at Kumiko while they are down with two seemingly asleep legs?
To really quick kind of check in on some of the other things that have been going on here in the meantime, Apatia has reacted very dramatically here, dropping into like a curled up squat in the middle of the corridor with her hands over the back of her head and speaking rapidly but unintelligibly at sort of like a low but not whispered volume. Hecate, you have felt Canopus on, I guess I didn't ask you how you were carrying Canopus. You're strong enough to do like a princess carry. I figured it might be more practical to like have him kind of like on your back or over your shoulder, but what do you envision?
I was actually picturing sort of a princess carrier, like cradled in the very large arm.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think
a football carry.
I think probably princess carry for security. The very large arm could probably handle the weight, but wouldn't necessarily be that stable in unfamiliar terrain.
No, I think we're being careful, especially because we just unhooked him from God knows what, really. Yeah. From machine God knows what.
Canopus.
Machine God does know what.
Canopus does not regain consciousness, but does sort of like do almost like kind of a full body clench shortly after the gunfire kind of fades away. I should also point out here, probably obvious, in this environment, gunfire is crazy loud. It's like truly ear splitting or auditory sensor peaking. Take your pick. Or both, in some cases, perhaps. So at this point, go ahead and give me another my gun go pew pew if you would like. Cal, what combat move are you thinking of here? This is going to be on page 45 in the rule book, keeping in mind that you can't use rush again.
Pen down.
All right. Fortunately for you, while you are close to Kumiko has not yet recovered from its stumble, and so does not impose disadvantage because of the arena just yet on ranged attacks. So go ahead and give me that roll.
I got a 3 and a 4, so 7 plus whatever that is.
I believe it was 5, which is 12.
Consider a boost.
Yeah, I'll boost it.
All right, add another die.
Let me mark my prep use here. I'll go ahead and roll. That's a boost well spent. That's a 6.
Okay, so that goes from 12 to 18.
Nice.
All right.
Good call.
Having Kumiko at your mercy like this lets you target as well as you can in the circumstances that you're in, and specifically make sure that you are firing into more exposed areas, of the machine, and you get some satisfying pops and puffs of smoke as a result. Not conclusive as to what kind of damage you have done, but it does in response something you've never seen any similar machinery do. Not that you've seen tons of active battlefields, but like even in footage, it sort of pulls its legs in, not dissimilarly to some sort of arachnid or insect in distress. Not how they usually behave. Any other immediate actions, either simultaneous with or just after Cal's second salvo?
I'm sort of comforting Canopus Hiryu as best I can.
Okay.
Since I'm sort of in protect mode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When he tenses up, I just sort of whisper like, hey, it's going to be all right.
Okay.
Have I gotten any responses from anyone?
Trying to figure out exactly how long they have had here. Still no responses whatsoever from Haru. Let's see. I guess that Ali would have responded, I guess right about now, with a deeply unhelpful thumbs up emoji. K&B has sent you a rapid series of short messages interspersed with statements that more or less equate to, oh, damn. And the opening stages of what she is doing to try to gather information about exactly what's going on.
I'll respond to both of them with, please disseminate footage widely, anonymously.
Both give you another thumbs up emoji almost simultaneously.
Yeah, so the quad drone is still in the mix, is that right?
Absolutely. It missed when it fired at you, but it has not moved from its position squarely in front of your group.
And my understanding / guess is that this thing is a drone similar to what my drones were before they became sentient, and therefore is perhaps a legitimate target. So, unless Ing would think anything differently than I've just summarized, I will look for anything that I might be able to throw at the quad drone, or some other way to try to muck it up a bit. I'm not sure if there's like something to grab onto and throw it against the wall, or
volleyball spike it out of the air.
I was going to say, if you don't use your flesh hand, you are uniquely, more capable than most in the tunnel right now of simply grabbing it in one of the ducts and slamming it against the wall. It might damage the servos in your fingers, but you won't lose them if you use the correct hand.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not sure if that might amount to rush.
Seems more like grab. Since you're sort of like very proximate to it.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
First attack of the campaign.
So make a melee attack if you would. I don't believe that you have a specific specialty for this, so it's going to be just a tough roll, 2d6 flat. I mean, plus tough. Whatever prep you want to spend.
I'm not going to try to sell you tough plus philosophy.
This is the death giving hand.
Right. So 2 force for a total of 8 plus tough is
0.
Tough. I've got 0 tough.
Yeah.
So it's 8.
Mm-hmm.
Boost?
Yeah, might as well.
Use some prep. Yeah.
Does it remain a crit if it gets boosted?
I have to say so. I'm not going to look it up, but yeah, it remains a crit if it gets boosted.
Okay, so that's an additional 3. So 11.
Okay. So you successfully get your hand on one of the ducts, and this interrupts the fan in that duct. And you now have a grip on it, but it is shockingly capable of fighting you. As you try to slam it, it picks up the output of the other 3, and it's not in no danger of pulling you off. You have it grappled. It doesn't have you grappled, but it is not going where you want it to so easily. That said, it's gonna be really hard for it to fight with any strategy or effectiveness in
Or ranged weapon.
Yeah, well, and that would probably have to charge up again anyway on a time scale that is unlikely to pass here. At this point, however, from above where the quadcopter drone entered, you hear just a ruckus. It sounds like kind of a lot. And another quadcopter falls, not flies, not descends, falls from the duct with something like 6 kit bashes piled on it. And it sort of clangs into the drone that you have a grip on, and then it and the kit bashes kind of tumble off to one side to the floor. It is not fully inoperable, but it is occupied. Let's see. Tama had been taking up a bead on the quad drone that you grabbed, before you grabbed it. But seeing you have that, she actually hustles past you to aim up the opening. It tunneled through, I guess. So it's not like anything in particular. But she sort of draws a bead and waits for anything else to come out of it. What does emerge from it moments after she aims up, though, is a very heavily reverbed sort of megaphone statement, I guess. Somebody with a better Australian accent than I'm going to be able to do in just a moment is using amplification to shout a message through whatever opening they were using to get these quadcopter drones down there. And it says, "Whoever you are down there, we have your images on tape, and you should come out of the basements by your nearest exit with your hands up and your weapons left behind." And I think, for timing, that is where we're going to have to end this session, even though I know we do have a not entirely accounted for Kumiko in play. It's going to have to pick up next time. That said...
Chekhov's Uwu Tank.
Yeah. That said, I will go ahead and just say it is less of a egregious sort of dangling element given Cal's roles than it would have been under other circumstances. So we can at least, if not rest easy, then rest on that. So we'll pick up exactly in our response to that message when we next convene. But for now, that'll conclude this session of Dice Punks. So thanks for joining us. I hope our players and listeners enjoyed it as much as I did, and that you'll all join us again next time. If you're hearing us now, then you probably know where to listen to this, but we can be found almost any place one can listen to podcasts, as well as on the wider web at dicepunks.com, and on Tumblr and Blue Sky as at Dicepunks. With that, I think we're ready to say farewell, so say goodbye to the kind folks back on Earth, players.
Thanks for listening. I, for one, am not the least bit worried about Kumiko.
Thanks for listening, everyone. This is not advice, but rather a vibe. When in doubt, pew pew it out.
That is not legal advice. They are not your lawyer, etc., etc. Thanks for listening, folks. And if someone's committing war crimes around you, record, distribute, make sure you survive.
Absolutely. Wonderful advice from my fellow punks. I will echo, thank you so much for listening. And if you can't smell what the rock is cooking, try a hotter rock.
That's good.
I love how that works both ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that in mind, somehow, as the poet once said, I can see your dreams. You wish you could speak, wish you could be free, wish you could be like me. Beloved listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stick around through the admin stuff for Luke's Lies. The music in this episode, Augment or Die, is by Emerson, Boatwright, and our very own bookmonger, Drew. Check out their other work at the link in the show notes. Editing and our rad new cover art was done by Joanne, who's appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet, where she goes by Anything Sews. Site design and graphics for DicePunks.com are by the Revenant, Robin. Hardwired Island is by Paul Machevic, Freya Erlingsdottir, and Minerva McJonda. You can find Hardwired Island at etten.itch.io/hardwiredisland. Links to the system and authors can be found on the Punk Grimoire section of our website, dicepunks.com. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, that's reward enough on its own, but if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks. We have fun rewards available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks After Show for episodes 1.1 and following. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again, and until then, remember, subtlety is for cowards.
So, the thing about governments is that they inherently and intentionally appear to be a force beyond the capacity for the individual to compete against. There are a number of other things that fall into this category: capitalism, natural disasters, unnatural disasters, systems stemming from generational trauma, quite possibly dreamers to the degree they're distinct from the foregoing. The cartel, at least in their own legally akin to human hive mind estimation. A hallmark of each of these entities and systems is that they're entirely capable of uprooting your world before you're aware of what they're doing. The laws change, and suddenly you're a criminal, and always, perhaps, have been. Your debt gets sold to a much more aggressive collector, with obvious consequence. An explosion can take away your home and your people and your life in an instant. I suppose the main mechanism to protect against and recover from these is a broad, strong, and flexible support network. So even though I've salted you through a bunch of different networks in producing these credentials, you'll need to make sure you wear this identity both well and thoroughly. Join organizations, make friends. Ensure that you have people who will look for you if you go missing. Because the ultimate threat of these entities beyond an individual's comparative scale is that they disappear you, make you fall through the cracks. Don't let anything relegate you to the basements.
Hello.